You're about to get my sort of typical, what is crowdfunding, what are some of the common themes we see through crowdfunding, some tips on how to actually create your own campaign if you want to, and then I'll talk a little bit about what I think the future of crowdfunding is, because there's some really exciting stuff happening at the moment, as said, around equity crowdfunding, but a few other things as well. As was already said, my name is Guenther. If you want to tweet at all, if any of you are into social media, you can totally tweet while I'm talking. In fact, I would love it. If you want to just tweet at us at PledgeMe, that would be great. So this is PledgeMe, if you haven't already had a chance to look at it. This is the crowdfunding platform that we've created. And only in the last week, as I said, has my face gone off the front page, which I'm really excited about. But this is my baby. This came out of my master's thesis that I did back in 2012. I was writing about crowdfunding and the future of crowdfunding, and actually sort of looking at the importance of local crowdfunding. You know, how important is it actually to get your local crowd around something as opposed to going to a global website? And there wasn't anything happening in New Zealand at that point, really. You know, crowdfunding was really, really new. You said it to people and people sort of gave you blank stares and asked you if it was cloud funding or crown funding or all the other things that it isn't. And so while I was writing my master's thesis, I managed to find a developer who was really excited about crowdfunding as well and was actually already developing a platform himself. And so we managed to team up and launch the first early version of PledgeMe back in Feb 2012. So since we launched, we've crowdfunded, actually it's almost $3 million now for over 640 creative and community and entrepreneurial projects. And it's been really exciting. We've had everything from theater projects through to comic books, through to short films, through to online participatory decision-making tool. You know, like a crazy range of different things have been crowdfunded. But first up, what is crowdfunding? Really is as simple as it sounds. It's the idea of going to your crowd for funding. And basically what you do is you set a goal of money you want to raise, you set a deadline by which you have to make that money, and it's all or nothing. So you have to reach that goal in order for your pledges to be charged. And you also offer rewards around it. You offer people things in return. So it's not actually really donations. People are getting something in return. In crowdfunding, it's a really young industry. It hasn't been around for very long. Not only actually in how long it's been around, the first platform started launching in 2008 and 2009, but also the types of people that are using it. So these 6 kids are from Papakura, and they decided they wanted to go to the World Battleground Championships in Sydney. They weren't sure how they were going to afford it, so they went to their dance teacher, and with her help managed to create a crowdfunding campaign. And you know, they had their parents pledging and their parents' friends pledging and their parents' parents pledging and all of that, and they managed to make the money to go over Sydney and actually brought home silver. It's also growing, not only in the number of platforms that there are. Crowdfunding is actually a very crowded market now. There's over 1,000 platforms internationally. It's also growing in the sizes of the projects that are coming through. So our largest campaign to date was called Back the Bull. This is a Michael Parakofi sculpture, and the Christchurch Art Gallery wanted to buy it. And they wanted to buy it because it symbolized the rebuild after the earthquakes. They'd managed to secure this bull and bring it down, and it just turned into this phenomenon where everyone knew where it was and people were visiting it, and it was in the middle of the decimated sort of CBD area. But it made people feel a sense of hope again, and so they decided they wanted to crowdfund for it, and they raised over $200,000 in 30 days, which they got matched twice. So in the end, they raised $750,000 to buy this bull. I didn't know bulls were that expensive, but they are. It's also graying. So Stu Buchanan is our oldest crowdfunder to date at 83, and he's amazing. He is a jazz musician, and he's been teaching jazz for over 60 years. And he wanted to make the first album of his own compositions. And with the help of someone who understood Facebook, because Stu didn't, he managed to go out and crowdfund through 3 generations of people that he taught music to. And he managed to do that pretty successfully within, I think, like 7 days. And he actually sadly passed away a few weeks ago, but he managed to make the album before that happened, so really exciting. And so our whole thing is that we think technology should be enhancing community, not replacing it. We're really passionate about this idea that technology is just sort of making your community more awesome instead of trying to create a new community. And one example of this is the crew from Blue Skin Energy.
down in Dunedin. They're trying to build a wind turbine, and they needed the money to build a measurement tower, because supposedly you need to measure all the data before you build a turbine to know where to put it. And they went out to their crowd saying, hey, we need some funding to do this, but also, hey, do you have any rewards that we could offer? And they had crazy things offered, like, you know, unicycle lessons and blues lessons from Blueskin Bay. And they also had this woman say that for $15 she'd home kill chickens for them. And she actually did that. I was like, for 20 bucks, would you not kill the chicken? But that didn't happen. So as I said, our success rate's actually 52% now. And how we make our money is we have a 5% success fee. So for all the funding that's successfully processed, we get 5%. And our mission statement, I'm not sure if any of you have to do this for business stuff, but you know, at the end of the day, you have to write a mission statement about why you're doing what you do. This took us 2 years to write. But our mission statement is to help Kiwis fund things that they care about, be it projects, be it creative endeavors, be it companies. And so really all we're trying to do is help Kiwis do things that they love. And we often get asked sort of, why would you even bother? New Zealand's really small. Why would you focus locally? You should export and go overseas and grow big and do all that. And our response to that is really, we want to see the difference that we're making. So we want to see cool things happening in our communities. And the things that are happening in our communities can be quite big. It can be buying a Michael Pericovi sculpture. But when I'm asked what my favorite project is, it's actually this project. So Waka is a 18-year-old high school student down in Wainui-Yamata, just outside of Wellington. And he got cast into a short film. And the director was asking him what he wanted to do after high school, and he didn't know. And so the director decided to crowdfund to send him to acting school, because he thought his acting was really amazing. And within 24 hours, not only had he crowdfunded to send him to acting school, but he'd actually crowdfunded to send him on the train every day between Wainui-Yamata and Wellington. And so stories like that is sort of what makes us realize that what we're doing is really worthwhile, and it's actually making a difference. So some of the themes that we see in crowdfunding, there's a lot, but I'm going to just tell you a few of them. One of the first is that a crowd brings a crowd. So the more people that you have in your team, the bigger your crowd, because the more friends and family you have. And without a doubt, the first person to pledge on your project is probably going to be your mother. So it's really good if you have 8 people in your team, because you've got 8 mums, and also 8 boyfriends. This group, St. Rupertsburg, were our second campaign through, and we really saw the power of their crowd quite quickly with the friends and family they managed to connect into. They managed to fund their project within 7 days. So I'm quickly going to show you a video, because I don't like talking all the time. And this is a TED talk. It's just a quick 3-minute one by a guy named Derek Sivers. And he talks about who the most important person is in a movement and how to start a movement.